Good evening, and welcome to the Connecticut Department of Transportation's Public Information Meeting for project number 0159-0193, the rehabilitation of bridge number 00642, Route 15 and US Route 5 over the Silas Deane Highway, and the rehabilitation of bridge number 00811, Route 15 and US Route 5 over Providence and Worcester Railroad and Hartford Ave in Wethersfield. My name is Susan Morneau, and I'm a project engineer with the Connecticut Department of Transportation. I would like to welcome everyone who's taken the time to tune in for tonight's presentation. We hope this will be informative and we're able to answer all your questions and concerns so that by the time we are done, you'll have a better understanding of our project. Available to those joining us tonight through Zoom is the option to view captions or subtitles. To turn on this feature, select the Show Captions button at the bottom of your screen. Then select Speaking Language, and then select the desired language. Before I get into the presentation and introduce the project team, I would like to go over a few housekeeping items and explain tonight's format. Our presentation will last approximately 25 minutes and will include a description of the existing conditions, the purpose and need for the project, and our proposed design. Once the presentation is completed, we will host a live question and answer session. We would like you to know that no person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project, and that there is a civil rights flyer available. The civil rights notice to the public is available at portal.ct.gov /dot/equity/title-VI. We would also greatly appreciate it if you could fill out the voluntary post-meeting survey for the Connecticut Department of Transportation. The results of this survey will help us improve these public meetings going forward. You can find the survey at portal.ct.gov/CTDOT-SURVEY or by scanning the QR code on the screen. The links to both the civil rights flyer and the survey are located on the previously mentioned project webpage. This is the Title VI notice to the public in English. It describes the process to file a complaint with the Connecticut Department of Transportation. I will pause for a few moments so you have a chance to read the slide.
Este es el título 6, aviso al público en español. Describe el proceso para presentar una queja ante el Connecticut Department of Transportation. Ahora haré una pausa para que tengan la oportunidad de leer la pantalla.
You will have three means of communicating with us during the live Q&A session. The first is by using the Zoom chat function. This function is only available during tonight's live Q&A session, and I will discuss how this works in further detail on the next slide. The second is by leaving a voicemail at 860-594-2020. Please note that we will be checking voicemails periodically during the presentation so that we can address your comments and answer your questions. Please also remember to leave contact information if you leave a voicemail so that we may reach out to you directly if for some reason we can't get back to you during the live question and answer session. The third is by leaving written comments by scanning the QR code on the slide or going to the project website. Both of these options will direct you to a form to fill out to submit your comment. Your comment may not be answered immediately during tonight's presentation. However, a response will be provided. You can ask questions or provide comments through November 26, 2025, using the QR code through the link on the website or through voicemail. A recording of tonight's entire presentation, including the Q&A session, will be stored on the project webpage. The webpage can be found at portal.ct.gov/DOTWETHERSFIELD 0159-0193. Closed captioning, including non-English translations, will be available at that time. This is a brief slide on how to use the Zoom Q&A feature. To ask a question or make a comment using the Zoom Q&A feature, you click on the Q&A tool at the bottom of the Zoom webinar window. This will bring up the Zoom Q&A chat window. Type your question in the text box at the bottom. Once you have finished typing, you can hit send and the project team will then see your question. On the screen, you will see your question and any other questions that have already been answered. Please note that even though you won't see them yet, the project team may have other questions to respond to and will respond to all questions in the order they are received. I would now like to introduce the project team. On the top row, with the Connecticut Department of Transportation, is Derek Lassard, the Division Chief of Bridges. To the left of Derek is Greg Funk, the Principal Engineer of the Consultant Bridge Design Consultant Liaison Engineering Program. On the bottom row is Brianna Rataco, Supervising Engineer in the CLE program. My photo is on the bottom left, and I am a project engineer with the CLE program. BL Companies is a consultant liaison engineer on this project and will work with the Connecticut Department of Transportation to provide project oversight throughout the design and construction of the project. Sean Ladati is the program manager for BL. His photo is the first on the top row. To the right of him, Jennifer Usher is the program advisor, and she will be the MC for the Q&A session of tonight's presentation. On the bottom row, Tom Beckman is the liaison engineer from BL Companies. Tom will follow me and go into more detail about the project. McFarland Johnson is the design consultant on this project. On the left, Gene McCarthy is the lead highway engineer for McFarland Johnson. To the right is David Cull, the lead bridge engineer for MJ. You will hear from both Gene and David this evening as they discuss the proposed structures. Thank you for bearing with me while I went over the ground rules. Now I would like to hand things over to Tom, who will start getting into the project-specific information.
Thank you, Sue. So what we have on the screen here is the project location, and it's a map showing where the project is located at the Route 15, US Route 5, Exit 85 interchange. Route 15 and US 5 runs from left to right across the screen. Route 99, or the Celestine Highway, runs up and down, as does the Connecticut River on the right side of the screen. At the center of the map is Bridge 00642, which carries Route 15, US Route 5, over Route 99. And just to the right of that is Bridge 00811, which again carries Route 15, US Route 5, over the P&W Railroad, as well as Hartford Avenue. Here's an aerial photo of the project location. Again, Route 15 and US 5 is running left to right, and Route 99 is running up and down. Now shown in orange is in the center of the screen is Bridge 00642, supporting Route 15, US Route 5, over Route 99, and Bridge 00811 is to the right of it, again, supporting Route 15, US Route 5, over P&W Railroad and Hartford Ave. During this presentation, you may hear terms that you aren't familiar with. To make things easier, we're going to introduce a few of those terms to you now. The substructure, which forms the foundation of the bridge, includes several important elements. First, shown in red, is the abutment. These are the end supports that connect the superstructure above to the ground. They also hold back the earth behind them, acting like bookends. Adjacent to the abutments is the wing walls. These also help retain the embankment and control grade elevations. When a bridge is too long to rely solely on the abutments, piers are added to provide additional support for the superstructure. The superstructure supported by the substructure consists of elements as well. First, shown in blue, is the girders, which are beams that support the bridge deck. The bridge deck, shown in green, is the surface of the bridge, part you're familiar with, as is what you typically drive over. And then also shown in a darker green are the parapets. These are barriers along the edge of the bridge provided for safety. Now I'm going to introduce you to the bridges. So the first one here is Bridge 00642. The bridge is designated as the Clinton Hughes Memorial Bridge and was constructed in 1942 and rehabilitated in 1986. It is a 145-foot long steel multi-girder superstructure consisting of two 69-foot spans, which are supported on reinforced concrete abutments and a pier. Route 15, US Route 5, consists of 2 lanes in each direction on the bridge, with an average daily traffic of approximately 37,000 vehicles per day. Route 99 below, again, is 2 lanes in each direction, with an average daily traffic of approximately 16,000 vehicles per day. All right, this next slide is giving a couple pictures of our subject bridge. So in the top left corner here is an elevation view from Route 99 looking north at the bridge. So you can see that abutments and the pier and superstructure as we described in the components. Top right corner here is Route 15 southbound looking west. In the background, you can see the exit 85 for Route 99 south. Bottom left is a photo of the girder on the abutment. And then in our bottom right corner is our girders sitting on our piers below. Purpose and need for Bridge 00642 is to address the structural deficiencies of the existing structure. As of the March 10th, 2025 inspection report, the bridge has been determined to be in overall fair condition. There are areas of section loss in the curved sole plate fixed bearings, the steel girders, as well as the bottom flanges in critical areas. There is rust in the steel diaphragms and connection plates with open bolt holes at the end diaphragms. The bearing pads exhibit curling and bulging, and the deck and superstructure is noted to be in overall satisfactory condition. So just to go through a few more photos here on the right, this is again our girder sitting on our abutment. You can see some concrete that has been lost in this area, and that is leaving this portion of the bearing unsupported or partially unsupported. And then as we go to our photo in our bottom right here, again, these are those steel girders sitting on our pier, and you can see some of the rust that is taking place on those bottom flanges as identified. All right, so with that, I am going to turn the presentation over to David Cole with McFarland Johnson, who is going to walk you through the proposed rehabilitation.
All right, thanks, Tom. So what we're going to do for this bridge is pretty standard repairs. We're on about a 40-year cycle. If you remember a couple slides ago that the bridge was rehabbed about 40 years ago. So it's about time to come back out here and do some more repairs. Taking a look from bridge from an aerial view, first thing we're going to do is we're going to try and keep the water from leaking down to the bridge. So we're going to be replacing the joints that are at the ends of both bridges that are highlighted there in blue. We're going to go with a little bit more of a modern repair. So we're going to try and get the joint off the end of the bridge so the water doesn't have the opportunity to leak down onto the steel down below. We're also going to be, as we work our way out from the joints, we're going to be performing concrete deck repairs. That's what basically you drive on. We're going to be doing full depth and partial depth repairs to locations that are going to be determined as we do an inspection. When we get out to the middle of the bridge, there is a joint in the middle of the bridge currently right now. We are going to be eliminating that. We're going to be pouring a solid concrete deck, or what we call a link slab, over that joint. So we're going to actually be eliminating one of the joints on the bridge that has potential to leak and cause water and future rust or future damage to the bridge. We're going to be doing all of this. There's going to be tearing up. We're going to have to tear up some of the roadway to do that. So once we're done with doing all the topside repairs, we're going to do a mill and overlay, put down new bituminous asphalt wearing surface on the bridge. It's going to help give a nice smooth riding surface over those new joints and that newly rehabilitated deck that we have out there. So what does this look like when you're driving underneath the bridge? We go to the next slide. Once we get down underneath the bridge, all that rusting and steel that Tom was showing earlier, we're going to be performing some beam end repairs, knocking off all that rust, putting in plates where it's needed, trying to clean it up. Those bearings that were partially unsupported and bulging, we're going to be temporarily supporting the beams. We're taking out those old bearings and putting in new bearings. One of the bigger things we're going to be doing for this project as well is we're actually going to be knocking off all of the paint on the bridge, and we're going to be what we call metallizing. It's like a new and better form of protection for the beams, where we don't put paint, but we actually bond some metal to the bridge. It's like a high performance coating to the bridge. We're also going to be performing some beam end repairs out there at the piers that we had showed some pictures of earlier, getting rid of that rust, keeping the beams in service as long as we can. And as we follow the water down, we're going to be performing the substructure repairs or repairs to the abutments, knocking off all of that bad concrete and pouring new concrete where it's needed. Now, what does this look like when you're driving across the bridge? Move on to the next slide. Here it is in section view. New wearing surface in green right there. We are going to be putting a portion in of a new concrete medium barrier. That's when we do the link slab. So we're going to have to replace a portion of that medium barrier over top of that joint that we're eliminating. So we'll have a new barrier that's out there right now. Like we said before, beams will be rehabilitated and metallized, and the deck will have full and partial depth concrete repairs to it. So we'll have a nice, good riding surface as we go across the bridge. So we go on to the next bridge. I'll let Tom send it back over to Tom to talk about Bridge 811.
All right, thank you, Dave. So Bridge 811, similar to 0644 or 00642, was constructed in 1942. It is a 308-foot long, 3-span continuous steel rigid frame bridge, which is supported on steel columns on concrete footings. When the bridge was widened in 1990, this was done to improve the acceleration lane from Route 99. A couple of additional spans here were added, and those are consisting of the reinforced concrete beams and columns. Route 15, US Route 5 in this location consists again of that same 2 lanes in each direction, but we do have the additional acceleration lane in the northbound direction with an average daily traffic of approximately 47,500 vehicles per day. And then Hartford Ave below consists of 1 lane in each direction, again with approximately 1,200 vehicles traveling on it each day. All right, some photos of 811. Top left photo here is our view looking at the bridge from the north. So you can see the spans 1, 2, 3, all steel there with the columns. In the foreground here, you can see P&W Railroad. And we go to our top right photo. You see that steel structure below, again, from below. Again, we got P&W Railroad in the foreground and Hartford Ave beyond. Bottom left photo is showing that east abutment. Again, we still have those steel columns supporting the structure with Hartford Ave in the fore. And bottom right photo, just again hitting on some of those drainage and leaking happening at the joints. This is just some of the rust that is on the steel structure. Our purpose and need for Bridge 811, similarly, is to address the structural deficiencies of the existing structure. As of the April 23rd, 2024 inspection report, it is in poor overall condition. The steel superstructure is deteriorated, being the frame, girders, legs, and diaphragms. There is section loss up to 25% in critical locations. There are missing anchor bolts and nuts. The deck and superstructure are in overall satisfactory condition, but the concrete is exhibiting random cracking and spalling and honeycombing through. So again, we're going to hit a couple of our photos of the bridge just to look at some of the conditions. So this top right photo is one of those steel columns sitting on the footings. So you can see some water ponding here below. Dave's going to hit on that coming up, but you can see the rust taking place here affecting that condition. You can see our missing anchor bolt on this one location. So those are some items. Then bottom right photo here is just showing a typical steel condition. So you can kind of see that pitting happening here. All right. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Dave, who's going to go through the rehabilitation of 811.
Thanks, Tom. So for this bridge, pretty much the same as a bridge 642. Trying to keep the water off the bridge. So because this bridge is a little bit longer, we're going to be doing a little bit more extensive repairs from the top side. We're going to be doing full depth and partial depth deck patching as required. Like I said, we're going to be doing an inspection soon, identifying locations that need to be repaired. So we'll be performing concrete deck repairs. When we get towards the end of the bridge, we're going to be doing some deck end reconstruction. Because of the longer span, it's going to be a little bit more involved of a deck end construction and trying to get that joint again off the end of the bridge and move it behind so it's not leaking down to the steel as it currently is right now. Another thing we're going to be doing, because we're doing this deck end reconstruction, is in the length of the bridge, we're going to be putting in a new approach slab. So approach slabs you don't really notice them when you're driving, but they help provide a smooth riding surface when you're driving over these longer bridges. So when you go from that flexible roadway to the bridge, it helps provide that nice smooth riding surface as you go across. Because we're going to be digging up a portion of the roadway, we are going to be doing a mill and overlay as well. Once we're all said and done, putting that nice smooth riding surface, so you won't even really notice it when you're driving across the bridge. What does this look like from the elevation side? Pretty interesting bridge, I have to say. There's going to be a lot of exciting details we're doing for us bridge engineers. So some of the things we're going to be doing, we're going to be performing steel repairs, knocking off a lot of that rust that we saw out there and putting in some new steel where it's required to help maintain the length and longevity of this structure. We are going to be performing the metallizing. We're going to be knocking off all of that paint after we're finished doing all those repairs and putting a nice, good, clean surface on it to help extend the service life of the bridge. At the ends of the bridge, we are going to be putting a concrete end block on. That's a modern transition for a guardrail for when you're driving up. It meets all modern crash standards. We're going to be doing that at the ends of the bridge. As we move down the structure, we are going to be performing concrete repairs to the abutments. That water, as it leaks down currently, has caused some deterioration to the abutment faces. We're going to be knocking that off and fixing that and putting in new concrete where it's needed. And then also next to Provident Worcester Railroad, we do have some water pumping that's occurring. It's causing a lot of the damage that's out there, deterioration that's out there now. We are going to be regrading that area to get positive drainage, as we say, to get the water away from the bridge, so we don't have to come back out here in the future for that. What does this look like in section view? Like we were pretty similar to what we had for Bridge 642. Concrete repairs to the bridge deck, new wearing surface, and same thing here because we are going to be doing some repairs at the ends of the bridge. We are going to be putting a new median barrier in out there as well. So if we move to the next slide, one of the biggest challenges with this bridge is how do we perform all these repairs while we try and keep traffic moving? I'm going to turn this over to Gene, who's going to kind of walk through how we're going to go about doing that.
Great, thanks, Dave. So as Dave said, in order to allow for the bridge repairs and rehabilitation, we have to manage the traffic both on Route 515, but also on Route 99 and Hartford Avenue below. So I'm going to show you some plan views here. There are going to be some overall views like this. And what you'll see here is there's going to be 3 overall stages of construction. So the rehabilitation will happen in 3 different stages. What we're showing on these plans is the area kind of in that orange shading. That's where the actual construction will take place. And then there'll be some modifications to the traffic above and below. So right off the bat, Hartford Avenue will be closed for the length of this construction. Trying to maintain traffic underneath there while we're doing this rehab was going to be too difficult. So we are going to close that Hartford Avenue, and we will provide a detour. I will show that detour. That'll be my last slide. So the way this construction is going to proceed is for stage 1, traffic on northbound Route 5 and 15 will not change. However, the traffic on southbound will be reduced to a single lane, and that will allow the first stage of the rehab to occur on the west side of both of these bridges. So if you go to the next slide, we'll show slightly more zoomed in view of the two bridges. You'll see the temporary works area in that colored area. Thank you, Tom, for the pointer. That area will be protected with a temporary concrete barrier. As you can see on the northbound 5 and 15 will retain those 2 lanes, but then the lanes for southbound will reduce to 1. So that traffic will be on the center of the bridge, and that'll allow that the rehabilitation to occur. One of the other requirements of this stage will be to close the southbound off-ramp to Route 99. We cannot keep that open while we're doing the rehab in that section of the bridges. So we will provide a detour route for that ramp. And if you look at this graphic, this shows the work area at the top in that yellow circle. So those vehicles that are moving southbound on Route 515 will be directed to continue to the Berlin Turnpike, where they will go down to Route 175, and Route 175 will take them back to Route 99. That detour is almost 7 miles long, but something that is necessary. And this overall stage 1 is anticipated to take about 4 months. And that's just an estimate that we have at the moment. So as we move to stage 2, the overall for stage 2 is the construction and the rehab will occur in the middle of both of these bridges, and the 2 directions of Route 5 and 15 will go around that center area. What will happen for both directions, however, is the traffic will be reduced from 2 lanes to 1 lane for both northbound and southbound traffic on Route 5 and 15. And if we show the next zoomed in view of the area, you'll see that larger temporary work area. You'll see the concrete barrier that's protecting that construction area, and then the single lane of traffic in both directions of 5 and 15. We will reopen that southbound off-ramp during stage 2. We're estimating that this stage will take approximately 6 months. When we move to the overall for stage 3, the southbound traffic will be restored to its permanent location. There'll be 2 lanes, and then we'll finish the east portion of the rehabilitation, and that will also require that we close both of the northbound ramps. That's the northbound off-ramp to Route 99 and the on-ramp from Route 99 to Route 5 and 15. When you zoom in, you'll again see that traffic on northbound Route 5 and 15 will remain at a single lane, and you'll see that we'll be doing the rehabilitation of the bridges and that on-ramp. So these 2 detours, so for the off-ramp, you would be directed to stay on Route 515 all the way to Interstate 91, head south on 91 to Route 3, and that will get you back to Route 99. That's about a 5.5 mile detour, and we're envisioning stage 3 to run about 4 months. Then for the on-ramp, that traffic will be directed to stay on Route 99, go further north to Airport Road over to Brainard Road, and then you can use that ramp to access Route 15 and 5 again. Again, this is about a 4-month stage. That detour is about 2 miles in length. So the final slide to show you is for Hartford Avenue. This will intend to close that during all 3 stages of this construction. We would utilize Route 99 and Jordan Lane, and that overall detour would be about 1 mile in length. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Tom.
Thank you, Gene. Going to touch on a few more items here. First being utilities. Just highlight that while there are many aerial and underground utilities in the project area, the only one that is anticipated to have some impacts is going to be Coxcom, which is running below Bridge 00811. And that is anticipated to be supported in place in construction, so should not have any impacts on service. Touching on our permitting, there would be one permit required for the project, which is the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection Stormwater Discharge Permit. The project will have ongoing coordination with the State Historic Preservation Office, as well as the Tribal Historic Preservation Office. No right-of-way impacts, easements, takes, etc., are anticipated for the project. And then due to the railroad, there will be flagging and protection of those services are required and anticipated. And with that, I'm going to hand this back over to Susan Murnau.
Thank you, Tom. This next slide shows our estimated project cost and schedule. Please note these are preliminary and subject to change. At this time, we are currently estimating a construction cost of $23 million. This will be paid for with 80% federal and 20% state funds. At this time, no funding is anticipated from Wethersfield for this project. Construction is anticipated to begin in 2028 and be complete in the summer of 2029. And this concludes the formal presentation portion of tonight's presentation. At this point, I will turn things over to Jennifer Usher of BL Companies, who will be the MC for the question and answer portion of tonight's presentation.
Thank you very much, Susan. Good evening, everyone. As Susan mentioned, my name is Jennifer Usher. I am with BL Companies, and I will serve as your MC for tonight's presentation and Q&A session. Just like to take a moment to thank everyone for attending tonight's presentation. Really, the purpose of this meeting is to engage the public and provide you all with an opportunity to voice any concerns you may have, ask any questions, and kind of interact directly with the project team. So we appreciate you taking some time out of your evening to join us. That being said, there are a couple ways to submit questions and comments. I'm just going to go over those quickly. Sue already went over those at the beginning, but just to touch on them again, if you have joined us via Zoom, and this is probably our preferred platform, you can actually just post questions in the Zoom chat function, or I should say the Zoom Q&A function. The chat function is a little bit different, and you cannot post questions or comments there. So please use the Q&A. Secondly, you can contact us by phone and just leave a voicemail at 860-594-2020. It would be helpful if you could just, in your voicemail, note the project number, which is 0159-0193. And that will make sure it gets to the correct project team. Let's see. And then lastly, you can also provide written comment or questions tonight by scanning that QR code. That will actually be open for the next 2 weeks until November 26th. So certainly take advantage of that. If you think of anything after tonight's presentation that you might have a question on or a comment you want to add, certainly feel free to use that. And then if you're looking for any additional information, you can also visit our project webpage, which you see up there on the Q&A slide as well. So we'll always go back to this, but we may skip over to a couple different slides to answer some questions. So it does look like we actually have our first question already in, and this is being asked by Ryan Biggs. And hopefully I'm saying everyone's name correctly. Please correct me if I am not. So he is asking, are there any thoughts of sound barriers as this goes into heavy residential and has much more traffic than initially, similar to many surrounding towns? I am going to hand that to Brianna Rataco with Connecticut DOT.
Thanks, Jennifer. So noise studies are only performed when it's determined that they're warranted. So if we're adding capacity or if the source of noise is moving, so like if there's a large like vertical grade change, something like that. So because of the scope of this project and it being very limited to bridge rehabilitation and preservation type work, this project does not warrant a noise study. So we do not anticipate installing sound walls as part of this project.
Thank you so much, Brianna. And looks like so far that is our only question, but we will certainly hang on for some extra time. If anyone else, again, comments or questions, please use that Q&A. Or again, you can scan the QR code there. I'll just give it a couple minutes. Oh, thank you. We have another question. This is from Kevin Sullivan, and he is asking what traffic calming, bicycling, and pedestrian safety improvements are planned for the area around the ramps on the Silestine Highway in the project area? That's a great question, and let me see who it would be best to hand that off to. Let's see. Brianna, I believe, or actually, no, I'm sorry, Tom Beckman from BL Companies is going to take that. Thank you, Tom.
Yes, thank you. Great question. And that has been identified by the department that is going to be a future project, not incorporated into this project. Again, due to the scope of the work being aimed at the rehabilitation of the structures. But a future project will be coming down the pike that will be looking at that bicycle and pedestrian safety in this location.
Thank you so much, Tom. And looks like our project team is actively checking voicemail as well as written comments through the QR code site. And I don't think we have any so far up there, but I appreciate the efforts. While we wait for just some more questions oh, I don't have to wait long. Great. Thank you so much. So another question from Ryan Biggs. Really great question. There is an additional bridge feet away from these locations. Is that on target as well for updates and upgrades? And perhaps we could just maybe take a second to bring up a Google map and just make sure that we are referring correctly to the correct bridge. Because Ryan, I believe that bridge is actually being looked at right now for potential rehabilitation and or replacement. And Tom, if you can just and I'm sorry, I'm forgetting, but the name of the road that it goes over, is it McMullen that I'm thinking of?
I'm assuming
That
it's the
is
one that-
McMullen and
Oh,
so excuse me,
fantastic.
this location, McMullen Bridge.
Oh, and Ryan just
00810.
confirmed for us. Thank you, Ryan. Okay, so we perfect. All right, we're all on the same page then. Make sure it's McMullen. So I'll actually take a stab at answering that myself, and then I may defer back to Tom Beckman to add in a little bit more detail. So interestingly enough, that project was recently assigned to BL Companies to serve as the consultant liaison engineer, and we are in the process of reviewing that. The whole process really starts with us looking at the existing structure, identifying the need for improvement and or replacement, as well as a host of other things, including environmental reviews, utility relocations, everything that may come into play. What we'll do is we will actually look at that. Then we're going to develop a report. They call it a rehabilitation study report. Essentially, that is going to consist of 3 to 4 different alternatives that we will present to the DOT as possible options to, again, either replace or rehabilitate that. And we'll give them some, I'll say we'll kind of weight or weigh the different pros and cons for each of those alternatives. And then they'll decide what the best scope is and move forward. So that will not be part of this project. But as I guess Tom mentioned, is with some other improvements with the pedestrians, this is also coming down the pike. So definitely a location and bridge and structure that they have identified as certainly needing some upgrades at the very least. And I believe the town had actually reached out to us earlier noting that. So it's been kind of on everyone's radar, it sounds like. So hopefully that answers your question. I don't know if there's anything else, Tom, you want to add to that I may have neglected to mention.
No, you did a fantastic job answering that.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Another question coming in here. Again, Kevin Sullivan says, thank you for the reply on the traffic calming. Is there more you can tell us on why such improvements are being deferred to a future project? To a layperson, it makes sense to make some improvements while the ramps are already closed. The construction equipment is right there already, etc. Again, I can take a little bit of a stab at this, and Tom, please jump in. But essentially, so if you're familiar, and I'm guessing, Kevin, you probably are, just by the kind of the information or the questions you're asking. So Connecticut DOT has taken on a pretty large effort recently. We're terming it Complete Streets. And it's really to make sure that when we are doing this type of work, like bridge replacements, highway, either adding a lane or doing pavement projects, traffic signal upgrades, all of that, that we're really looking at it as a whole and not just for vehicular traffic. So we're looking at pedestrian needs and cycling needs, that type of thing. So with that, when we're looking at bridges in particular, really our goal there is to make sure that the bridge itself does not become kind of like that squeeze point, if you will, for pedestrian or bicycle traffic. So in this case, that wouldn't really apply, obviously, because it's a highway. We certainly don't want pedestrians or cyclists on the highway. But below that would be Silas Deane Highway. So that would actually fall as another project. And because we have been talking with the project development unit at Connecticut DOT, we were able to kind of coordinate and find out that they are already looking at that. That's going to be part of a much larger project. So that's really kind of the reason why, is that this is more focused on kind of the bridge, the highway portion of this, not so much underneath, because there is a separate project that is focusing on that. And we certainly wouldn't want to do both of them, I would say, at the same time if we could avoid that, because the impact to residents and traffic and businesses in general, I think, would be fairly significant. I don't have a timeline on that project. If anyone does, please feel free to jump in, but I don't think I have a definitive timeline on that right now.
I don't have a timeline on the project, but I do want to add that we are aware that the town is actually looking into a study in this area as well. With some draft recommendations coming in the next year, I believe. So I'm sure those two will coordinate as that is developed further.
All right, and let's see, got any other questions come in? Just giving that a few minutes. I will just remind everyone, if you've joined us this evening, we would really appreciate it if you could just take a few more minutes of your time and fill out that voluntary post-meeting survey. I did put a link to that in the chat, so you should be able to just click on that. It's really only a few minutes. We would really appreciate any feedback you have to give. We've been doing our best to kind of improve these as we go forward. So if there's more information you're looking for, or if we use terminology you didn't understand, or you are looking for something else on the slides to better understand and grasp what we're presenting for the project, by all means, we're looking for that feedback. So please send it in, and that will help us improve as we present future projects. I think right now, this particular project team that you see probably has about 50 projects on the docket moving forward. So we'll have plenty of public infos moving into, into the new year. So anything you can give for feedback would be appreciated. We'll definitely just give it some more time for any other questions and comments. And actually, if we could just go back quickly to our splash slide, just so that they have that QR code, as well as the website address and telephone number. So again, you can reach us through the Zoom chat, and I was almost going to call it the Teams chat. The Zoom chat. That's only going to be available during tonight's presentation. You also will have up to November 26th to get in contact with us, and you can use the QR code. I think Tom's just got to reshare his screen. It'll be right back up there, and you can scan that. And then certainly you can also reach out to us by dialing 860-594-2020. You can leave a voicemail there. And just, if you don't mind, let us know that it's project 159-193 that you're referencing. That will ensure that it gets to the correct project team. Thank you. All right. And there's that QR code up there. So you have that. Let's see. Actually, it looks like we had a pretty good turnout tonight. So again, appreciate everyone taking time out of their schedule. I know it's a hectic time, especially towards the end of the year. You have a lot of holidays coming, and not easy to get away, but we do appreciate it. And looks like we don't have anything coming in through voicemail at this time, nor do we have anything on the written website. It looks like tonight everything's coming in through our Zoom Q&A. Thank you. So we just got a comment from Kevin Sullivan just saying, thank you for holding this meeting. The bridge looks like it needs repairs. Absolutely. We are 100% in agreement with that, and looking forward to bringing this project actually through design and construction. The really nice thing about this project, I will just add, is that we don't actually require the environmental permitting side of this. So that kind of helps expedite just the design process, I'll say. So we should be able to get to construction fairly quickly. And Tom or Dave, can you remind the audience, when do we expect to start construction again?
We
Just trying
can
to
go
remember
back.
again.
Construction is anticipated to begin in spring of 2028 and completed in summer of 2029.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And we'll be continuing to obviously work with the town as well as the railroad just to coordinate all the construction and everything that's going on. We certainly want to make sure that we're coordinating with any other projects that are in the vicinity, whether that's state projects or town projects. So all that coordination will continue throughout the design process. And at this point in time, we're really just at the initial design stage. So it looks like we're coming to you very early. Really, the point of that is to make sure that we're giving the public an opportunity to weigh in on this project before we start heavy design, because it's a lot more difficult to change course when you're halfway through the design. So if there's anything, we can incorporate or any consideration that we can make, really, this is the best time to do it. So that's why we do it kind of so early on in the process. And let's see, I'm just going to double check. It doesn't look like we have any voicemails. I'm not seeing any more questions coming in. Let's see. It doesn't look like we have anything on the website. So just give it a few more minutes here. I want to make sure we're giving everyone adequate time. And again, as a reminder, I know I keep on saying it and I probably sound like a broken record, but for the next 2 weeks until November 26th, something pops in your head and you again have a comment or a question, please do not hesitate. Reach out by phone, leave a voicemail at that number, reference 159-193 as a project number, and we will get back to you. Or just scan that QR code and you can enter your comment in there and the project team again will respond back. So we'll just give it another couple minutes. And if we don't have any questions or comments, we will let everyone get on with their evening. And I will make one more plug for our feedback survey. So again, if you just have a couple minutes after this, click on that link and provide any feedback you have. We would, again, appreciate it. And just double checking, I don't think we have anything there. Nothing coming in through the website either. All right. Let's just give this one more minute. Certainly don't want to make sure we're cutting anyone off. We don't want to do that. And and just a side note, there will be this whole presentation was recorded this evening, so it will actually be posted on Connecticut DOT's website, or sorry, not Connecticut DOT's page on YouTube. So if you have any friends or co-business owners, anyone that wasn't able to attend tonight's meeting for one reason or another, just let them know that that presentation will be up on YouTube and they can view it there. And then again, they'll have 2 weeks to provide written comment or question. So they can certainly do that after viewing it. But it should be up on YouTube probably about by noon tomorrow, I would say. They're pretty fast with that. All right. Well, with that, I don't see any more questions. So thank you everyone for your time. Oh, wait, hold on. We have a couple of questions that just popped up. So thank you. So I can answer this one. So Kevin Sullivan's just asking, can we please post the YouTube link on the project webpage? That is exactly what we will do. I believe just if Brianna or Sue could just confirm that for me, I believe that's where that link comes up later on. It'll be up on the webpage.
Yes, it should be up there because I think there's a link to the YouTube channel.
Is that what it is? Okay, so I'll bring them to the
on the
channel and then they
webpage,
can
so.
find the actual webpage. Yep. Okay, perfect. So yeah, that will be up there. If it's not there already, it will be up there by the time that they upload it tomorrow to YouTube. Let's see. We have a question that came in from Tim Lewis asking, since there is going to be some regrading in the railroad area under Hartford Ave Bridge, will there be any improvements to the sidewalk area as well? And I'm going to hand that over to Tom Beckman with BL Companies.
All right. Great question again. And again, yes, you did identify there is going to be some grading by the railroad. If you remember the one photo when I was going through the purpose and need for 811, so that water ponding by the concrete footing there, as Dave identified, that is creating some deterioration of the structure. That's why that area is being focused with some regrading. So in the vicinity of Hartford Ave, there isn't that same situation happening. So that work hasn't been identified at this time. Obviously, as Jennifer said, we are early in the design phase here. So if there is need there for that, it will be investigated, but not identified at this time.
Great. Sounds good. Thank you. And we have a question that came in from Sandy Shab. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly, asking, this is a heavy populated area. Will this be daylight or nighttime construction? And I believe, Tom, you're going to answer this question as well.
Yes. So as of right now, we are not anticipating any night or weekend work with the project. So that is going to be daytime, to answer your question. And generally you see the contractor out there, in that 7 to 3:30 range. Would expect something similar to that here, but that is determined by the contractor abiding by the DOT's requirements.
We're still pretty early on the design, but we are anticipating that will happen during just daytime hours to keep the noise to a minimum during the nighttime. And it looks like everyone's coming in with questions at the end. I like this. So we have Donald Retman, and I do like this. He says, my house is on McMullen Avenue right next to that bridge. Should I book a hotel now? I would say probably not quite yet. I would hold off a little bit. Similar to this public information meeting, we'll be having a public info meeting for that as well, I believe. So we should have more information and time frame for that. And then we can kind of let you know what we're anticipating for rehab or replacement options. That one's going to take, I think, a little bit longer because it has a little bit of a historic nature to it. So we'll have to do a little bit deeper dive before we bring that to public info. But stay tuned. You will see us shortly. We'll be a very similar team. That I can tell you. All right. You are welcome. I like that. I'm going to thank you even. All right. So I think right now we don't seem to have any questions, but again, let's just give it a couple more minutes. I like these public infos that are more active and interactive like this. Shows the public is paying attention and is interested, which is always good. And let's see, do we have anything on voicemail? Nope, nothing on the voicemail and nothing on the web page for written comments. So very good. And if one of the project team members could just click on our webpage and just double check to see if that YouTube link is up there, we could just confirm that perhaps for Kevin. And if not, like I said, it will be up there tomorrow. So I do know that. And I'll just give it another minute. And let's see. Oh, okay, perfect. So it looks like there is on our webpage right now, on the project webpage, I should say, there is a link that will bring you to the VPIM archive. So you'll be able to click on that and that will actually take you to the recording for this. And just checking, nothing on the voicemail, nothing on the website, nothing on our Zoom. All right. Oh, I might have one more thing coming in. I'm just going to give it 30 seconds. Oh, and Susan Morneau from Connecticut DOT just made a note over to the side here, just saying that when you click on that link for the archive of the VPIM recordings, it's going to bring you to all of our VPIM recordings. Feel free to browse, see if you want to check out some other projects, but if you're looking for this one, you'll have to do a little bit of a search. You can probably do a Control F find on the page and just put in the 159-193, and that should bring you right to it. So with that, I think we are going to wrap up. Again, thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful evening. And yeah, stay tuned for McMullen Ave. That is coming up shortly. Thank you, everyone.